Welcome to another edition of the Resilient Living Podcast, a show dedicated to improving quality of life for both people and planet through liberation and independence, moving from surviving to thriving and living life on your own terms.
All right, so what do we got going on here today? What's going through the noodle? I'll tell you what's going through the noodle is my life being devalued and my money being devalued at the same time. I know this is probably a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow, one that they actually don't really care to put their hands on. But it's something I think we need to take understanding of. That's what I'm here today to explain a little bit about my view of what's going on, has been going on in the world, and what's going on now more than ever. And the very first thing, well, how do I equate taxes, money with your life, the devaluation of your life? Well, I'm in a car right now. Excuse the background noise. I'm on my work commute. Unlike most people, I get to go to work. I'm more empowered to do so on my own energy, on my own thought, and when I want to go, I can go. Whereas most people, they have to go. So that influences your life. A lot of people I know do jobs that they just really despise, they don't really like, and that's sad. That involves your life. And when the money through taxation and things like that start happening, ghost expenses, which we're going to talk about today, it starts to take the gasoline from the tank that you're trying to fill up every single day to keep yourself fueled, your life fueled, right? And there's leeches. We need to understand what these leeches are in order for us to get ahead. So the very first one that I look at is taxation. I think a lot of people don't understand that we have a difference between, like Dave Ramsey says, like you should not spend more of a quarter of your earnings, on a mortgage or rent. So we have gross income and we have net. Net means, I know it's baby steps, a lot of people do know this, but a lot of people don't. So I'm here to just say it quickly. Net is exactly what you bring home after taxes. Gross is what you bring home with taxes. So I hear a lot of advice being thrown around from places like Dave Ramsey, where you shouldn't spend more than a quarter of your earnings. And is that gross or is that net? Because when I start to break down things, say someone makes $2,000, you're not making, a quarter of that is $500. You're not making $500. You're getting about a good 30% of that, give or take, however much money you make, away. So you're actually probably making somewhere around $380 or so. You're not really making that $500 a week. So these are things to take in consideration when you're trying to plan your life and try to figure out why is it that you can't get ahead. So yeah, taxation is everywhere, on everything, and it's only getting worse. And the next thing that I look at is inflation. And some people don't know about inflation. Inflation is they're printing a lot of money. They took away the fiat currency system, from the Nixon era, I believe in the 70s, and the gold standard's gone. So we have just printed money with nothing kind of really backing it from my limited education on it. But what's happening when they print money is there's more money in currency. So it's all floating around, right? Just like Monopoly. If people threw a whole bunch of money, there's a whole bunch of money going on. So that means that when there's a whole lot of something, it devalues. Right? And when there's scarcity, things go up in value. So your dollar, and you know this yourself, especially if you're as old as I am, where you used to buy a stick of bubble gum and it was like, 25 cents, 50 cents. Now it's like $1. It's ridiculous. And it continues to go higher and higher, especially here in 2021. So you're going to work, you're being taxed. The little bit of money that you get from going to work is actually not that valuable anymore, so it devalues your life because now you have to work harder. There's less things that you can get. Maybe there's less housing that you're able to be that's affordable to you. So you may have to relocate. You may have to change your life. I think you'll have to change your life. I think that a lot of people, that's why I'm sending this message out today, a lot of people aren't aware of what's going on right now. A lot of people quitting working, and I don't understand how people think that they're going to get by, but we need to take control of this, and that's what this show is about liberty and freedom, emancipation from the rat race, and to live your life. And in order to do that, we have to have some sort of understanding what's going on around us. And we don't really need to get really big. I mean, it's complicated. I get in there, I'm trying to understand it, and there is a lot. The gurus of investing and money and all that, they study constantly because things are always changing. So let's just go through the fundamentals. The next one I have here is the ghost expenses called sales tax. Remember we talked, if you listen to my show, about how to save money and how to get your financials together. Ghost expenses such as tires, like on my vehicle right now that I'm driving, or the roof on your house, or the plumbing, things like that, things that you can't foresee. A hose gasket bursting inside your motor, now you got to replace it, you lose a day of work, all those kind of things. Those are ghost expenses that compile. You think about, not only do you have to pay to get your vehicle or your roof fixed or something, God forbid your vehicle dies on your way to work, you just lost a day of work, probably most likely 2 or 3, depending how bad the situation is. So not only are you paying, but you're also losing time. So these things are very, very important. So the ghost expenses, to me, which a lot of people don't account for, and nobody ever taught me this, is that you have sales tax. So after they bleed you out from taxation, when you get your initial, like federal taxes, income taxes, and all that, when you get whatever's left for, they ante up and give you what you got. Whatever you spend that, even on utilities, electric, water, but groceries, gas, everything has taxation on it. So we add on, if you look at it, most people, I think, are at about a 34 or 35% tax bracket to make even numbers. And then you're anywhere, if you live in sunny side California like I do, you're paying anywhere from 8 to even some places another 1 to 2%. So, let's just put even numbers, probably a little bit lower for most of you guys that are low income. But the IRS, the government, is taking roughly around 45% of what you make. And when we think about inflation and things like that, it's probably pretty much 50%, half of what you make through the devaluation of the dollar, and all the goods and services and things that you have to buy. And there's other ghost expenses, ghost taxations and things like that go on. So if you just think about that for a minute, and I don't want to anger anybody here, don't go to work and all that, and life sucks. No, life's actually pretty good. We just have to have a clear understanding. It is what it is. There's no us controlling. We can complain all we want about having 50% of our income taken from us, but what can we do to battle that? And that's what this show, a lot of it is about growing your own food. When's the last time the IRS tried to attack a sunflower, right, from producing sunflower seeds? Did the sunflowers ever get the memo? I think not. Were the plants and trees and animals and stuff affected by COVID? Not really. They keep on growing, they keep reproducing. So there's many, many things that we can do. But I want to stay on here, why savers are losers. This is from Robert Kiyosaki. As I said, I try to research a lot to understand myself and be able to convey these messages to other people to understand and see the things that I see, so that they can get some comprehension and go, wow. So yeah, Robert Kiyosaki says that savers are losers. And the reason why savers are losers is because we, the people, the majority of us, we all save money. We work really hard, right? Government takes about 50% of all that. We just keep nesting and putting that money away. As what's happening? Inflation. Say you saved $100, right? We're going to make even numbers. We saved $100 in 2020, and you put that in the bank. Right now, experts are saying that it's probably more like $90 that you have in the bank. But that all, to me, being in the service industry, when I look at inflation, right, the cost of stuff going up, metal has gone up by 45%, at least in my industry. So when we say that our dollar has been devalued by 10%, right, you had $90 in there, I think not. I think that gas and all kinds of things that continue to go up, and this is not transitory, as they say. This is not like inflation is going to just go up, and then it's going to go away, and it's going to go right back down to normal. I can't really remember a time, and somebody please correct me out there, that somebody raised the price on something and then said, oh, okay, we'll just take it back down now. I think when things rise up, there could be a chance. Nobody knows. I'm not saying I know exactly what's going to happen or not's going to happen, but it's a pretty good chance that it's just going to stay up there. So that's why investors, people like Robert Kiyosaki, try to teach people like me, do something with your money. The rich don't sit there and just save. The more and more you save, the more it devalues. You need to put your money in assets. Now, this gets very complicated as well. Like, what am I supposed to do? Go buy real estate, go buy stocks, and all these kind of things. I say invest in yourself through education. invest in educate yourself about things like I'm telling you about today. I'm not affiliated with anybody. In fact, I pay to be here to do the show, so I have no sponsors or nothing like that. But I think it's worth for you to take time to invest into books and things to read and to try to find out about as much as inflation and things like that as possible, and also investing. But let's look at ways that we can do, because I'm on the other side, guys. I want to understand about real estate, and things keep changing, and it's just mind-boggling. And I got to go to work a lot. I'm a single dad. I don't have a lot of time. So I try to simplify things for myself. And when I look at where would I invest, I would invest such as things as trees, right? I'm always looking for a way out of my freedom. And one way I've done that is called spin farming. And for those of you who follow me, you know I grow food on other people's property that I don't own. So they pay all the taxes, right? They've worked really, really hard, and I think that's a wonderful thing, not knocking it one bit. But because they've worked so hard and because they're so dedicated to one thing, they kind of don't know how to grow their own food. Me, because I've invested in books and time and energy and money to learn how to grow my own food, these people are more than happy to have me go over there tax-free, right? So tax-free. There's no dollar exchange. I give them food in exchange for me growing food on their property. I pay for the water bill, which is ridiculously low. I think my last water bill for 6 months was like $20. It's barely anything. So you see that there's always loopholes. That's what I'm here to inspire you guys to do. To trade amongst yourselves, become producers, not and less of consumers, less of consumption. So. There's plenty of stuff that we got to do, and I should probably do a show on becoming a producer instead of a consumer as much as possible. So you take that philosophy that I just gave you guys of what you guys can do without money to invest in your life, as far as when I look at, like, food is just such a big one for me, because you're improving your health. You're eating vitamin-rich, healthy foods, not this crap that's at the grocery store. That's the other thing that pisses me off about this whole monetary system, is that they've got us like sitting ducks, people. You are getting taxed on all your money, all the hard work that you're doing, you're trading your time for dollars, which is complete slavery to me. But I know it's necessary and needed for some people to do, but it is. That's why a lot of people are and I don't want to offend anybody, but that's why they're miserable. That's why they're very angry. But where was I? Is that all that money? That's right. I was continuing to piss everybody off. The money that you make, you have a choice. You have Coca-Cola or Pepsi, right? You go to the grocery store. Now, it's not necessarily that bad, but you get some organic vegetables that were picked green, shipped from who knows where, other parts of the world. They don't really have much flavor, and who knows if it even has much nutrients. Because it's not, when it comes down to money, our entire lives are spent trying to cut when you're producers, when you're a business owner, how can I have the least amount of expenses and make the most amount of profit, right? Least amount of input, maximum or output with a maximum amount of input. So it doesn't really benefit farmers to spend lots of money monitoring their soils and adding in such things as worm composts and spraying vitamins and minerals on their plants, creating worm teas and compost and things like that. No, it doesn't. They wouldn't be able to compete with other guys. So at the end of this whole money pipe, you and I go to the grocery store and we get to pick and choose on very sad foods, right? Instead of growing it ourselves. And a lot of us don't have the time to go out and do such a large garden project where we can actually feed our family significantly, because we're too busy chasing the dollars. So we're stuck. We're sitting ducks. And that's what I want to do, to educate, to give you guys just a little bit of insight. I know there's people that are saying I'm not including a lot of things I know. I don't really have the time to do that today. But I figured I'd simplify it and make it as easy, palatable as possible. So the last thing I have here, what is the true value of earning a dollar? What is the true value of finding a dollar, like on the road? Think about this. I can't even quantify this. So this is very important, people. This is very important for you to understand. When you go to work, some of you leave your air conditioning on, right? Or your heating. Some of you are driving vehicles that are depreciating. Ghost depreciation, right? Expenses. You see all that? You probably have maybe a fish tank with some tropical fish, and you've got a heater on. all of these things are burning up your money. These are like people say residual income. You're making money while you sleep. We're losing money while we sleep. I have my heater on as well, at nighttime to keep the temperature warm for my kiddos. I used to live without central heating, and I woke up with my nose freezing a couple times. But you just throw the blankets, get a nice, good sleeping bag to save some money. But I don't really have to now, so I figure why suffer? It wasn't actually really suffering. I know I'm rambling off over here, but yeah, I've done extreme things to save money. But so you're walking down the street and you find $1 in the gutter. So when we think about all the wear and tear, and even what's crazier is the time that takes you to go to work. When you look at if you value your time for dollars, you only get paid 8 hours a day, but you're driving about an hour of that, let's just say, a day, right? So really, you're working for $9 an hour, or for whatever it is, $15 an hour, and you're getting paid for 8, but you're actually working 9 because you're having to drive. So like residual incomes, you have residual leaches. So the true value of $1, when we start looking at taxation too, right? What did we say? They take about 50%. You end up losing about 50% of that money. So that $1 is probably actually worth $1.50. No, it's not, because you think about all the wear and tear on your vehicle and things like that. As I said, it's kind of impossible to quantify this. I'd love if somebody's gone through all the brain work for it, but I'm thinking that $1 is probably worth more like $5. What it would take, the amount of gas that you have to put in your gas tank to go to work every day to make $15 an hour. You see how that's going, how that's compiling? So I think it's a very important thing. Done pissing you off, by the way, but maybe depressing some people. But no, once we understand these things, now we can go, we can cure the disease. All of this whole thing with money reminds me of what I hear about functional medicine compared to Western medicine, the regular old doctors. You go to the doctors and you say, my foot's throbbing, it hurts. And they say, well, let's just, let's take a quick look and everything, and they most likely are going to prescribe you something. Whereas functional medicine will come and say, let's take your shoe off, let's take your socks off, you got a rock, a little pebble that keeps floating around in your shoe. We keep shaking it around. They go through the trouble, basically. Let's take blood samples and figure out what is the cause of this problem so that we can fix it instead of just giving you medication. And unfortunately, in our world, in our life, if we want liberation, independence, and we want to move from surviving to thriving, because that's what they have us on, a surviving wheel, most of us. And I mean, you really, really got to work. Like they say, the more you make, the more they take. It doesn't have to be that way, though. Once we understand this disease, now we can start working on the cure. And it's not like, I'm not a motivational speaker or something like that. I couldn't help everybody, but because I don't know what your situation is. How much are you spending on rent? Are you overspending, right? Are you acting your wage? Are you acting below your wage? So it depends a lot of what you guys got going on personally. But once you start understanding, as I said, the disease, now you can start getting fundamentally what's going on in you can get what's going on in your life. Sorry about that. It was somebody at the crosswalk walking through a green light while I'm driving. But once you get the understanding of these type of things, then there's no stopping you. Then you can start to look around your life and say, I see where I'm being bleeded out now. Now, what can I do about that? Remember I told you guys about the spin farm factor. I want to eat good food. I want to be healthy. I want to invest not just my money out in real estate and things like that. I want to invest in myself, my knowledge. I want to invest in my happiness. We are in debt to ourselves from being slave grinded and pressed on the rat wheel, right? That's what they call it, the rat race. Get off the wheel. And that wheel just keeps spinning and spinning. And I know it's very difficult for a lot of people to comprehend because we barely have any time to really think about things and to get a perspective because we're so busy. And it's like people love to say, and be careful what you say, people. Oh, there's always a problem. There's always something. You keep saying that, you will deliberately create that in your life. If you start to get yourself into a mode of, I'm a problem solver and I will solve this and I don't take this is unacceptable, and keep getting yourself into working mode. As I explained in one of my past shows, it's like a muscle. Once you start exercising that muscle, you start to see more openings instead of closures. So yeah, I hope that this is like the ABCs, very simplified, and I hope that this inspires you guys to take a look and say, well, you're not stuck. We're just here. You're here by choice, right? You're not here because you have to be. You're here because you want to be. That's the bad thing, is there's nobody pointing a gun to anybody's head or anything like that. It's just, it's a prison with walls of air. All you got to do is step through. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the show. You know what to do. Down below, like, subscribe, thumbs up, thumbs down. If it's thumbs down, tell me why. Let me know what you guys want to hear about. And as I always say, guys, go out there and have yourself a near-life experience. Don't lose your muchness. Carry up in the fire and human up, my friends.